Someone regrets losing you, and heaven is about to show you why. Listen, before you decide whether to stay or leave this message, let me whisper something to you. Not loudly. Not clearly. Just enough that your heart feels it before your mind understands it. There is a reason your eyes stopped here. There is a reason your breath changed just now. There is a reason the silence around you feels heavier than it did a moment ago. Something has already begun to move. I am speaking to you gently because what I carry is delicate. This truth was not meant to crash into you. It was meant to arrive slowly, like dawn, so you do not panic, so you do not doubt, so you do not run from it. Heaven has been watching you sit with questions you never said out loud. Heaven saw the nights when you pretended you were fine, and the mornings when you woke up tired before the day even started. Heaven heard the quiet ache you tried to silence by being strong. Someone regrets losing you. Not in the way people regret missing a bus or making a small mistake. This regret is heavier. It sits in their chest and steals their sleep. It follows them into rooms where they laugh too loudly just to hide it. It shows up when they are alone and have no one to perform for. They replay moments with you over and over, not to feel comfort, but because pain has become the only way they still feel close to you. You did not imagine the shift. You did not misunderstand the ending. You did not overreact. What broke was real. What ended mattered. And the weight you felt afterward was not weakness. It was grief. Grief for something that could have been sacred if it had been protected. I know you wondered if you were too much. Too emotional. Too deep. Too honest. Too present. Too loving. I know you wondered if being softer would have kept them, or being colder would have saved you. I know you questioned your worth in ways you never had before. But listen to me now, and listen slowly, you were not too much. You were too real for someone who was still hiding from themselves. They saw your light before they understood their own darkness. They touched your truth before they learned how to hold it. And instead of rising to meet you, they stepped back. Not because you were wrong, but because you were clear. And clarity is frightening to those who live in confusion. Heaven did not remove you from their life as punishment. Heaven removed you as protection. You were giving from a place that was beginning to cost you yourself. You were bending in ways that would have broken you if it continued. You were trying to be patient with wounds that were never yours to heal. Now the regret has found them. It comes when they see someone who reminds them of you, and they realize how rare your presence was. It comes when they try to replace you and discover that connection cannot be copied. It comes when they remember how safe they felt with you and recognize that safety is not common. It comes when they realize that what they lost was not just a person, but a future that required courage they did not yet have. They regret the words they did not say. The effort they delayed. The moments they chose pride over truth. The times they assumed you would always stay. They regret thinking they had more time. They regret believing they could come back whenever they were ready. And the hardest part is this: they are now ready, but the door they closed is no longer in the same place. You see, while they were learning through loss, you were being rebuilt through distance. Heaven has been working quietly in you, healing you in ways you did not notice at first. strengthening boundaries you once thought were walls. Teaching you how peace feels when it is not earned through pain. You may not feel strong yet, but you are steadier. You may still miss them, but you no longer disappear for them. You may still love, but you love with more wisdom now. That is not an accident. That is alignment. Heaven is about to reveal something to you, not through thunder or lightning, not through loud signs or sudden miracles, but through quiet clarity that gently settles into your spirit. You will not need to search endlessly for meaning, because it will begin to rise naturally inside you, like dawn after a long night. This understanding will not rush in, it will arrive softly, like morning light spilling slowly through the cracks of old shadows. You will begin to notice what you once overlooked. Patterns will reveal themselves. The way you attracted people who mirrored your unhealed parts, the way you loved from fear instead of fullness, the way you said yes when your soul whispered no. Heavenly wisdom comes not to shame you, but to free you, to show you where you once carried what was never yours to hold. In time, moments that once left you confused will start to make sense. You will look back on certain conversations, goodbyes, and delayed answers with new eyes. You will recognize that some endings were not abandonments but divine redirections. You will feel truth settle in your bones, and this truth will not sting, it will soothe. You will see that not all loss is punishment. Some separations are mercy in disguise. Some breaks are blessings that only unfold their beauty when you no longer resist what they were sent to teach. You carried far more than anyone knew. You bore silent battles, stretched yourself thin to hold connections that were already breaking, and tried to give balm to wounds that weren't yours to heal. But heaven saw. Heaven felt every time you tried to keep peace at the cost of your own. Every time you swallowed your words just to avoid conflict. Every time you begged the universe to let something work, even when your soul was pleading for release. You were never unnoticed. You were being prepared. The release that is coming will not look like surrender born from defeat. It will look like acceptance born from strength. There will be no dramatic announcement, no desperate closure. It will be quiet, sacred, and deeply personal, a soft exhale after holding your breath for too long. That is how heaven often works, not through enormous signs, but through subtle confirmations that settle like whispers in the heart. A conversation will echo an old wound, and this time, you will not break. A song will play unexpectedly, and you will feel peace instead of pain. A delay in plans will no longer frustrate you because you'll trust the timing. You will begin to realize that every "not yet" carried protection. That every detour was an act of grace. Signs will come softly, not to startle you, but to remind you that you are guided. You will meet someone new and feel an unfamiliar calm, not the spark of chaos, but the glow of peace. You will open a door that does not require you to knock repeatedly or beg for entry. The flow will replace the force. And when you notice these things, you will smile quietly to yourself, because you will realize that peace was the miracle all along. What you thought was punishment was actually preparation. What you thought was silence was strategic stillness from heaven, ensuring you did not run into something before you were ready to stand in it fully. Delay is not denial. It is divine pacing. Heaven does not rush what is meant to last. But when your heart wanted quick answers, it was hard to believe that. You wanted reassurance, something visible, something immediate to ease the ache of waiting. Yet slowly, heaven has been preparing you to live from a different place, not from fear of loss, but from faith in alignment. What is coming toward you needs the version of you who does not shrink when loved rightly. It requires the one who no longer feels unworthy of reciprocation, who no longer sees stillness as rejection, who no longer mistakes endurance for loyalty. This version of you knows that giving does not mean bleeding and that being open-hearted does not require self-erasure. And yes, they will feel it, the one you released, the energy that once tied you together. They will sense the shift even without words. Because energy does not lie. When you finally let go. Not in bitterness, not in drama, but in truth, something changes in the unseen realm. The cords that once kept you hostage no longer hold. The silence between you begins to hum with new meaning. They will feel your absence differently. Not as neglect, but as peace. Not as rejection, but as closure. That is when realization often strikes those unprepared for their consequences. Regret grows loud where presence once spoke quietly. But understand this, their regret is not your responsibility. You are not called to return to pain just because someone else finally recognized your worth after losing it. Their awakening does not equal your assignment. You were never meant to be the lesson that keeps repeating. You were meant to be love that transforms, even if that transformation requires distance. You were sent into their life as a light, perhaps one that revealed too much too soon. But your mission was never to stay and dim yourself to be received more easily. Heaven calls forward those who can now match your frequency, not drain it. If they return, you won't have to question their clarity. You won't have to wonder whether the change is real. You will feel it, in their words, in their energy, in their presence. If they speak, it won't be to test your boundaries but to honor them. And if they stay distant, let that distance remain sacred. It does not mean you were wrong. It means the season completed its purpose. The divine timeline never malfunctions. It concludes where growth ends, and it redirects where love cannot expand. Heaven is not instructing you to harden. It asks you to rest, to soften without collapsing, to open without desperation. Guarding your heart with fear was never peace, it was only a reflex from pain. The lesson now is trust. Trust yourself. Trust that what left you did so to create space for something enduring. Trust that you are not late, not forgotten, not overlooked. The universe never loses track of a soul walking in faith, especially one that has endured heartbreak with grace. That ache you feel, that quiet longing for an apology or explanation, it's deeply human. It's what remains when your heart has given greatly and received confusion in return. But remember, closure is rarely found in the mouth of another person. It blooms in the soil of your own understanding. You may never hear the words you wanted, but you will feel a peace that renders them unnecessary. The wound will stop asking for a witness. That is how you'll know healing has come. Hope remains in you, and that is beautiful. Never shame yourself for hoping. Hope is the bridge between your current grief and your coming joy. It holds faith in the unknown, the sacred belief that goodness still waits for you. Just be sure your hope does not become a tether to something that no longer grows. Let it serve you, not bind you. Let it be the light that guides you forward, not the rope that ties you to a story you've already outgrown. What is meant for you will never punish you with uncertainty. It will not require you to chase understanding or to beg for attention. Divinely aligned love does not confuse, it clarifies. It does not drain, it replenishes. It will meet you in truth, stand beside you in growth, and choose you without hesitation. It will not love you in fragments because it will recognize your wholeness. You will know the difference when it arrives. It will feel like rest, not rescue. Heaven has been watching you in the quiet places. Not only in the moments when you were strong or hopeful, but in the moments when you felt small, when your faith flickered like a candle in the wind and you wondered if anyone truly saw you anymore. Every night you turned your face away so your tears would not burden another soul, heaven was near. Every time your chest felt heavy and you whispered a prayer that sounded more like exhaustion than belief, heaven listened without judgment. Every time life tempted you to become cold, guarded, or cruel, and you still chose gentleness, still chose kindness, still chose to love, those choices echoed loudly in the unseen realms. You have never been invisible. Not once. You are not late. You are not lagging behind some invisible timeline that everyone else seems to follow. Heaven does not measure your life the way the world does. You are not being punished for past mistakes, nor are you failing a test you did not understand. What you have been experiencing is refinement. Like gold placed in fire, not to destroy it, but to remove what does not belong, you have been undergoing a process that only happens to souls destined to carry greater light. The delays you resented, the detours that confused you, the heartbreaks that shattered your sense of direction, none of them were random. Each one was shaping you in ways comfort never could. They were deepening your roots, expanding your compassion, softening your judgments, and teaching your heart how to hold power without bitterness. You are being shaped into someone who can love deeply without losing themselves, who can shine without needing applause, who can stand steady without hardening. There were seasons when you thought you were losing everything. In truth, you were being stripped of what could not go with you. Yes, someone does regret losing you. Their spirit feels the absence now in ways words cannot fix. They wrestle with the weight of what they took for granted, with the realization that your presence was a gift they did not know how to honor. But hear me clearly, this is not the center of the story. Their regret is not your reward. Heaven is not restoring you so someone else can feel remorse. Heaven is restoring you so you can come home to yourself. What is being returned to you now is far more precious. You are gaining back the parts of yourself that you slowly gave away in the name of love, loyalty, or survival. Your laughter is returning, the kind that rises from your belly, unforced and free. Your creativity is waking up again, no longer buried under worry or self-doubt. Your peace is re-entering your body, settling into your nervous system like a long-awaited exhale. Your curiosity is being revived, reminding you that life still holds wonder. Your lightness is finding you again, even after you thought it was gone forever. You are becoming softer, but not weaker. Stronger, but not hardened. Humble, yet powerful in ways that do not need to announce themselves. You are remembering who you were before pain tried to rename you, before disappointment tried to convince you that love must hurt to be real. That remembering is holy. That restoration is not accidental, it is your inheritance. There will come a morning, and it may not arrive with fireworks or dramatic signs. It may come quietly, almost shyly. You will wake up and notice something different. Your chest will feel lighter. Your thoughts will no longer race toward the past. You will not feel the familiar urge to replay old conversations, to rewrite endings, to search for meaning in what has already ended. The ache that once colored everything will no longer be the first thing you feel. You will feel free. Not numb. Not detached. But whole. You will look around your life and realize that you are standing in the middle of things you once begged heaven for. The difference is that now, you are calm enough to receive them. You are grounded enough to hold them without fear. You are steady enough to enjoy them without waiting for loss. That is what heaven has been doing all along, preparing your hands, your heart, your spirit to receive without trembling. In the past, blessings overwhelmed you because you were still carrying wounds. Love felt unsafe because you had not yet learned how to stay with yourself. Joy felt temporary because your nervous system was still bracing for impact. But now, something is different. You are learning how to be present. You are learning how to trust your inner knowing. You are learning how to let good things arrive without immediately questioning how long they will last. When new people enter your life, you will feel it. When new opportunities open, you will recognize them. When new love approaches, it will not feel like chaos or urgency or confusion. You will move differently now. You will not chase, because you will no longer believe that love must be pursued to be secured. You will attract by being rooted in who you are. You will not perform or overextend or shrink yourself. You will simply be. You will no longer confuse attention with affection, or intensity with intimacy, or chaos with connection. You will know, deep in your body, that love is meant to feel like a sanctuary, not a storm. You will choose relationships that offer peace instead of adrenaline, safety instead of uncertainty, mutual care instead of imbalance. You will lead with discernment, not fear. You will listen to your intuition without second-guessing it into silence. You are reaching a season in your life where your boundaries will no longer feel like something you must explain or apologize for. They will no longer feel like defenses born of fear, but like sacred circles drawn in reverence for your peace. You are learning that your boundaries are not walls meant to keep love away, they are gates that open only to what is true, kind, and aligned. You will begin to stand in them not with guilt, but with quiet confidence. You will feel the shift deep within, the moment you realize that saying, no, is not an act of rejection, but an act of self-respect. It does not make you unloving, it makes you honest. The tenderness you carry deserves honesty. The peace you fought for deserves protection. And the energy that sustains you deserves preservation. There was a time when you kept giving beyond your capacity, stretching yourself just to make others comfortable, hoping that understanding would bring belonging. But now you are remembering that love does not demand your self-abandonment. You are learning to choose yourself without feeling like you are choosing against anyone. This is the quiet revolution of your healing, the permission to belong fully to yourself. Do not rush this process. Healing is not a race against time, it is a deep conversation with your soul. Even divine timing unfolds one heartbeat at a time. Some days you will feel like you are standing still, and yet, sacred things will be shifting beneath the surface. There will still be days when nostalgia visits like an old friend, when a memory rises from nowhere and lingers, when longing wraps itself around your ribs until your breath catches. This is not regression, it is remembrance. It is the heart honoring what once mattered, even as it learns to release what no longer fits the rhythm of your becoming. When those waves come, let them. Do not push them away, do not judge yourself for feeling them. Sit quietly in their presence, the way you would sit beside a candle and simply watch the flame. Let your heart whisper, "I'm still here, but I have learned." Let the light of that realization soften the ache. Healing doesn't erase the past, it gives it new meaning. You are learning to rest in the sacred space between closure and beginning, the space that feels empty but is in fact fertile. That in-between is where your roots deepen. It is where wisdom settles into your bones. It is where the lessons you've lived begin to integrate with the person you are becoming. You have always been walking a holy road, even when you stumbled, even when life seemed unfair or chaotic. The messiness did not contaminate your purpose, it revealed it. Every tear you shed watered the soil of your becoming. Every shadow you faced taught you the texture of light. Every unanswered prayer trained your spirit to listen differently, to hear guidance not through thunder, but through whisper. And every goodbye, no matter how devastating, carved space for new life to enter. Nothing was wasted. Nothing was meaningless. The divine has a way of redeeming everything, turning even your detours into sacred directions. You are emerging now. Not merely as a survivor of what once broke you, but as a creator who can shape a life with intention. You are remembering that life is not something that simply happens to you, it is something that answers the frequency of your being. You are learning to build from clarity rather than fear. You no longer seek approval to know your worth. You no longer perform for love, you embody it. The heaven that once felt silent was never absent. All along, something higher was aligning what your eyes could not yet see. Threads were weaving, timing was forming, opportunities were gestating, and healing was orchestrating itself behind the veil of your patience. Soon, you will begin to notice the convergences, the moments that make you pause in awe. Words will arrive at the perfect time, doors will open with effortless precision, and you will find yourself standing in places, emotionally, spiritually, even physically, that you once only dreamed of. You will look around and realize that all of it had meaning. The delays you resented were divine alignments. The ending you mourned was the clearing for what was always meant to come. And when that realization settles in, you will not respond with resentment or anger. You will exhale gratitude, a soft, humble understanding that even the pain was participating in your wholeness. Stay open. Continue to be gentle, even when the world tests your tenderness. Do not let cynicism convince you that sensitivity is weakness. There is power in your softness, an unshakable strength in your ability to love transparently, to feel deeply, to respond to life with compassion when it would be easier to close. Your softness is not something to hide. It is what makes you luminous in a hardened world. Protect it, but never bury it. Water it with truth, root it in discernment, and let it grow into the kind of love that can hold both strength and surrender. You are not replaceable, and you never were. The essence you bring into spaces cannot be duplicated, because your frequency is singular. There is no timeline you've fallen behind on, no opportunity you've permanently missed. You are exactly where you need to be for the unfolding of what is next. Divine timing neither hurries nor delays, it arranges everything with intricate precision. Heaven counts differently, it does not measure by earthly clocks. What feels slow in your world may already be accomplished in the unseen. You do not need to chase what is already yours. What belongs to you will not require begging or bending or exhausting yourself to keep. You need only to align with who you are becoming, to refine your vibration to the truth you've uncovered. You are not here to grasp, to force, to prove your worth. You are here to release what binds you to smallness and to rise into ease, trust, and authenticity. The things that left did not strip you of destiny, they simply cleared the road for its arrival. The same divine hands that permitted separation are now sculpting restoration. There is a quiet poetry in that symmetry, a holy logic that only time reveals. One day soon, you will look back and sigh, "Now I understand." But that understanding will not break you, it will bless you. It will not be bitter, it will be soft, wide, and drenched in peace. You will recognize how each ending redirected you toward the truth of who you are. How every closed door quietly guided you to the one that was yours all along. How every heartbreak carved space for deeper wholeness. You will finally understand that you were never really losing them, you were finding you. You were being rewritten into your fullness. The shedding was not punishment, it was preparation. All along, heaven's plan was never about loss, it was about revelation. You have arrived here with more clarity, more compassion, and more courage than before. So, take a breath, unclench your hands, and trust the rhythm of this new chapter. Let it unfold without rushing. Let it teach you without resistance. You are not late. You are not missing anything. You are simply ripening into readiness. And as you continue walking forward, may you hold these truths close. Your boundaries are sacred, your softness is holy, your timing is divine, and your becoming is unstoppable. You are the miracle in motion, the proof that even broken things can bloom again.